And of course, we're seeing a surge and an increase in the gig economy anyway. So the nature of the way project work is changing. So we've got the gig economy, which you kind of talked about there a little bit in terms of how things are going to shift. How's COVID-19, though, affected reward? Is it going to change the way we think about reward going forward?
I hope so. So if the whole coronavirus episode has taught us anything, it's that those that we thought had the highest value in society actually don't. So those who were earning very high salaries, doing very important jobs, I'm not saying it was wrong to pay them that, but we've seen that we've managed to keep our country and our economy as much as we can going in the last 6 months with people who are generally in minimum wage jobs. So it is the shop workers, it is the delivery drivers, it is the home helps, the home carers, the nurses, who have largely kept the country ticking over. And I think that if COVID-19 does anything positive, because it has been an awful time, not just for the UK, but for the world, if it does anything positive, it's going to be about a rebalance. It's going to be about increasing equity for people within the workplace. It's about truly understanding what matters. And I moan about job evaluation a lot. And I think that, you know, as much as I love reward, job evaluation is not my favourite thing. When we evaluate jobs now, we evaluate them using systems which are perhaps 40 or 50 years old that don't take into account the way that our economy has changed. They don't take into account the fact that the jobs that are important to us now were not the jobs which were perhaps seen as being important 50 years ago. You know, 50 years ago, you know, racism, sexism, homophobia were rife, and actually now we live in a much more equal society. When you look at a job evaluation system, it's very male orientated. It's about knowledge, it's about experience, it's about time. And I think that if COVID-19 can do anything, it's about perhaps resetting what really matters and what we should be paying. And we will always have millionaire footballers, and as a football fan, that's kind of fine by me, because they have a unique skill. But actually, we need to look at what really matters in our society and rebalance that. And I appreciate that's probably a little bit ideological, blue sky thinking. But if it does anything for the rest of the population, I'd like to see less emphasis on money, more emphasis on support, more emphasis on helping people through their careers, helping people with changing their careers, helping people kind of have those career reinventions, and actually looking at the non-cash things which have become important. So, you know, we've all been talking about workplace flexibility, and if we'd had this conversation a year ago, you'd have CEOs and CIOs going, well, we can't have everyone working from home. How possibly, you know, haven't got the laptops, haven't got the bandwidth. Oh, but hey, you know, presto, we've managed to do it. My favourite coronavirus meme is the one about who accelerated your flexible working policy. Was it your CIO, your HRD, your CFO, or COVID-19? And it absolutely was. And I think it's a great opportunity, particularly with the new generations coming into the workforce who really value the flexibility and the autonomy, to say, actually, we've done it. There is, you know, people always used to say, can you trust people working at home? Well, actually, yeah, you can. We can trust them. We have the infrastructure. Yes, you know, we need to do something about broadband provision in the UK for us all to do it long term, but we'll get there. But actually, this is a time to kind of reset. And I would hate to see pay and reward in the world of work to, you know, just go back to that kind of rat race, ants in and out of the building kind of thing in a couple of years' time, when we have this great opportunity to do things differently, and perhaps bring about a bit more fairness. And obviously, I'm ready to start a revolution on the fairness front and pay equity. So if anyone wants to come and join me, then yeah, I'm here.
I think that's excellently put. Couldn't put it better myself. And I think, well, I'm really glad I asked the question, because you've touched upon some really important points. I think the one I really liked was talking about, you know, CEOs, CFOs, whatever, saying, oh, we couldn't do it quickly. There's no way we could possibly do this pre-COVID. But actually, that flies in the face of what most of these CEOs, the values that their businesses actually stand by. And if you look at their documented values online, that was the first thing usually comes up is trust. And yet before that, you didn't trust your employees. So now is an opportunity for brands to really start living their values as well, and maybe rethinking their organizational values to be ready and to be relevant for the new world of working. And I think there's a chance for lots of businesses to change the way they do things. So you put that superbly. Enjoyed listening to it. Last question, and because you're the first person I've had on the listening lounge sofa talking about reward, why should more people choose reward as a career?
Well, aside from it being the sexy and glamorous part of HR, which obviously it is, I think it has the most variety. If I think back, even over the last 5 years that I've been an interim for 8 years, but the last 5 years of my interim career, the different projects that I've been involved in, things that you wouldn't think that a reward person would be involved in, because I think that people you're working with see that commerciality and the focus and think, oh, they could help us here. So I think the variety is huge. I think it is incredibly gratifying. It's perhaps the one part of the people agenda where you can do something and see a result, both good and bad. And let's not hide from here. Sometimes within reward, we have to do some fairly testing and fairly difficult things,
Sure.
And some things which don't have brilliant outcomes. But actually, the kind of gratitude and the job well done that you can get from a career in reward is really, really quite special, and something which I haven't had in any of my other roles which I've had before. But I think that actually, if you are someone who has an interest in people, and I always say that I don't particularly like people, which is why I'm really good in HR, which sounds really bad. But actually, what fascinates me about people is how they think and how they act. And that's kind of perfect for a reward job, because it is about human nature. It is about understanding how people are going to react, what's important to people, how you can motivate people, how you move people forward. And reward is absolutely, great at that. And it's also a really fast moving part of the people agenda. I think back to, my 15 years ago, my first job in reward, and it was all about job evaluation and benchmarking and maybe a little bit of health insurance. And I think of the conversations that I have now around culture or around the ways that people are working, about how we can change the education system to get the right people into technology jobs in the future. And I just think that it's been such an interesting and varied career that I've had. And I think it just will become more and more important, whether it's well-being, whether it's pay, whether it's looking at the way that people work, whether it's looking at the motivation behind it. There will always be room for reward people. There'll always be room for good reward people. Less spreadsheets, more stories. And I think that it's just really exciting. And I understand that many people do jobs that they don't love, but if you are looking for a job that will challenge you, that you can actually at the end of each day think, I might be really frustrated, I might be quite stressed, and I might be incredibly tired, but actually I can see that I did something today. I can see that I made a difference. I always remember when I worked in the public sector, someone said to me, who shall remain nameless, is it right that you're spending public money allowing people who work for the council to go to the gym for cheaper? And I was like, well, actually, yes. If I'm a social worker and I'm dealing with something really quite awful, and at the end of the day, I know that I can go for a swim to wind down before I go home to my family, then actually, yes, I've done something good, and that's money well spent. And I think that one of the things that good reward and more people having, even if you don't choose a career in reward, even if you do want to be a generalist, if you have that kind of reward thinking hat on, you'll actually get better results. You'll get more out of people. And, we come back to that kindness and empathy. If you understand how people think and how they're going to react, then actually, whether you're dealing with a reward issue or a discipline and grievance issue, the way that you can interact with people and the way that you can help them through and support them is going to mean that we are going to end up with nicer organisations, kinder organisations, and more productive people. So choose reward. It's amazing.
If you want to have a rewarding career, choose reward. There you go.
That's a bit cheeky. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Listen, you're clearly incredibly passionate, Jane. Amazing to have you on Listening Lounge. Thanks for sharing those views on reward. You're delighted you're the first reward professional to have on the sofa as well. So thanks for that. Have a wonderful day. Of course, if you're listening to this, remember every good conversation starts with good listening, and I'll be introducing the next episode of Listening Lounge real soon. Thanks again, Jane.
Thanks. Bye.